Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Aska, where you, the audience, get to ask questions of someone you may not be able to interact with on a day-to-day basis. It's a place to grow, learn, understand, for everyone. That's the glue. I'm one of your hosts, Big Irish J. Hollingsworth.
And I'm KevOnStage, and this is Ask a Professional Preacher with the Right Reverend Mark Moore Jr.
Yeah.
Let's clap it up for him, Josh.
Come on, Josh. What are you doing?
Thank you. Josh is not clapping good.
He's not clapping. So let me do your bio like the guest preacher.
I have to get the guest preacher
Get your guest preacher face.
Mm.
He hails from Atlanta, Georgia. He's the son of another preacher, the Mark Moore. And his grandfather was a preacher.
Yes.
He is currently preaching all over these great United States.
International.
He is the visionary of the YLC conference, where the website is exploreylc.com. Every year in August, he gathers the world's greatest young leaders,
Thousands,
and he teaches them and trains them
masses
how to expand their vision in their territory. I spoke at the last one. I'll be speaking at it this year as well. You want to go ahead and register for that right now? Exploreylc.com.
Get your prophetic hands right.
Right now, right over now. If you just want to touch your screen, touch and agree with us right now. So I've known Mark for, shoot, man, 10 plus years now.
Definitely.
Dang.
Early Playmakers. We partnered with Mark. He had Laugh Hard Entertainment. So if you see some early Playmaker videos, you'll see a Laugh Hard card, and that was when we were working with Mark. He's PAW royalty. Oh yes, he is. He comes from a long line of preachers. Yeah, oh yes, he does. His father's
Jay's like, what? It was like Paul who?
I know what a
like
PK is.
So that's who Mark Moore is.
Yes, sir.
He was very smart. Very smart young man. When Periscope first came out, Mark wrote a book called The Periscope Playbook that he was training pastors on how to reach millennial audiences digitally through live streaming. And he was promoting it. And then when Periscope kind of died out, he was like, all right, we off that.
Yeah.
And then he founded the YLC conference.
Yeah, man.
But the reason we have him on the show is because he calls himself a professional preacher. And he says, I love my job. And I always thought that was interesting because people don't like to think of ministry as a job. So my first question, the way the show works, me and Jay ask questions that we think are interesting, and then the questions the audience asks.
Okay.
But my first question is, what made you start calling it like your job like that? And how do people receive that?
Great question. And to be honest,
He has the preacher's voice.
No,
he doesn't even turn it off. That is just how. Well, hey man, we're gonna be delving into some things, sir.
No, I was
number 3 or number 4. Well, I'd like the properties of the number 4 and the drink of the number 3, and if you could give an apple pie as well, I would thank you for that. But go ahead, Mark.
No, he said great question on the very first one. You didn't even notice that.
I didn't even notice it. I was
we try and
you're coming out the gate strong. That's all I'm saying.
I ain't had that one in a long time. Okay, go ahead.
But I think that, people respond to it great. And I think that the whole I love my job piece is really necessary because it puts things in perspective from the standpoint of this is, ministry for me is not part-time. It's not full-time. It's lifetime. This is something that impacts the totality of who you are. This is why I'm here. This is my job. This is what I do. And I love it. And so I think that's really why it started. And people were able to kind of connect with it because they could say, well, you know what? This is what I do too. And this is what I want to do. And so it really just kind of resonated with people as far as identifying purpose and calling. And it's not so much just to minimize it to a career. But when I say job, I speak from the standpoint of this is what I'm here for. This is the role I play in this great big picture. This is what I do. I preach to people. I give people the word. I share what I feel like God has given me. And so that's my job. That's my function.
Amen.
Amen.
God has put into your heart. So you talk openly about, on your Instagram a little while ago, you posted like when somebody had paid you on the back of an envelope.
Yeah.
It was like $12 in ones and 20 in 20s. It was like $216 total.
Yeah. And that was for like 3 or 4 nights.
Was it?
Yeah.
We got an amazing basket for you.
Yeah. Oh, the baskets are wonderful.
Oh,
all the pears
and outdo each other.
Oh yeah, red delicious apples and Fiji apples, Granny Smith, all the apples you can eat.
Various cheeses and crackers.
Cheeses and crackers.
What about the money?
The basket's good.
It'll come. It'll come.
And the funny thing is, they never think you can't take that on the plane.
You cannot.
You're leaving in the morning.
Bro, you know how many maids I have blessed with fruit salads and all kind of crackers and stuff. They have TSA laws, and you can't take
it.
Nah, but yeah, so it's crazy. It's real out here.
So how are you able to be so open about like you get paid to teach the word of God or speak the word of God? Like, how is that? Does that offend anybody?
Well, you know what, Kev, the truth of the matter is we are in my opinion, the most easily offended culture that we've ever been in. People
I'm offended that you said that.
Yeah, what do you mean?
I offended myself a little bit, honestly. But people love to be offended. And so it doesn't matter what you do, how you do it, what rationale you give for it, people will be offended if they want to be offended. Some people, offense is their love language. They can't even function without being mad at something. And I mean, even this week's news, whenever you watch this video, it will still apply. This week's news prove that people love to be offended. But, I think that even if we go back to the Bible, which is a novel idea, even the disciples were paid for what they did. And I think that every one of them. I mean, Jesus carried a treasure around with him. People don't think about that.
I got to keep that thing on me. You feel me? Your boy is out there.
Judas was supposed to secure the bag. That was his. That was his thing. I mean, and so I'm not at all advocating, that I have to I should drive a Rolls Royce or anything like that. I'm not knocking anybody that does, because people also need to remember that just because you're a preacher does not mean that's the only thing you do. For me, I'm a preacher, but as you know, I host conferences, I write books, I do all kind of things, I do consulting. But I think that for the preaching piece, it's not just for the preaching. I think people have to look at it as you're paid for the time, the preparation that goes into it. This week, for example, I'm here with you guys in LA and really, really glad to be here. But I flew here from Atlanta. Last week I was in Philadelphia Wednesday and Thursday. I was in Milwaukee Friday through Sunday. I was in Atlanta Monday. I was in LA Tuesday and Wednesday. I go back to Atlanta. I'm in London Thursday through Monday. I'm in New York next Friday. I say that to say this, and all of that is preaching.
Hardly anybody beats me in travel. You would be on them planes.
But here's the thing: if I had a 9-to-5 job, right, that I had to be at, how would I be able to move like I move? So I look at it from the standpoint of, if you want a preacher, a pastor, whatever the context is, to be prepared, to be studied, to be whatever, then it's not a far cry to expect something to be given as a result of, hey, you know what? And let's just reduce it. We don't have to go deep and be spiritual and be spooky. The Bible talks about muzzle not the ox that treads out the corn. We don't have to go all that route. Let's just say, if you're going around giving people good news, and it's 500 people in the room, and everybody says, you know what? Hey, that really helped me. I was going through something that was good. Here's $1. They just gave you $500. Now magnify that. Let's say you have 2,000 people in your church, which I don't, right? But let's just say, because people love to, preachers shouldn't, whatever. You're speaking to people, 2,000 people every Sunday. Hey, you know what? That was good, Pastor. Here's $1. Here's an apple pie at McDonald's. Right. Yeah. Here's 3 fries at Chick-fil-A. Right? Huh? Am I in the house?
Oh, you're in the room.
I'm in the room, Doc. I'm in the room. Here's $1. That's $2,000 that week.
Yeah.
And then he comes back next week. That's, you know what I mean? So I look at it as you have to factor in the time and the preparation that goes into being prepared to do what you're going to do. Anything that's going to be, or you're going to demand professional level service from, should be accompanied with some sense of compensation.
Look at motivational speakers, public speaking.
Tony Robbins racked out.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, I don't mean to cut you off. I was looking at booking people for, like, we're having a 90s party for the conference, and we're looking for, like, R&B people who were within our budget.
Yeah.
Tony Robbins is like $300,000 speaking fee.
Exactly.
And a lot of
his
these
songs.
Bro.
A lot of motivational speakers are just giving you Bible stuff without citing the scripture.
They're just not saying Jesus.
They're just not saying Jesus.
Be nice to each other. And, love each other. It's like, oh my God, where did he come from? Take all of my money. Take all of my money.
Dude.
And so, I think that it's definitely a thin line, because with anything, people can abuse or take advantage.
Yeah.
But I don't think that we should be offended or upset that someone that gives good news and devotes their life to that receives some sense of compensation for doing so.
Yeah.
Did you have when you? I think it's interesting saying the professional preacher, like you were saying, Kev, because it's almost like. I'm sure there's definitely preachers that would shy away from like, like, oh, well, you got this and that. And like, let's change the subject or whatever. Right. But you're like, no, this is my job. I'm embracing the title. Yeah. So really, a person doesn't really have anything to get you on, so to speak.
Exactly. No. And again, especially if you're the biggest thing is operating with integrity, doing what you say you're going to do. When we get into, especially anybody giving you any money for anything, you have to still be accountable and responsible for that. But I don't think that it's the right avenue to say, oh no, I don't have anything. Because you're not being honest. And I mean,
I have no money. I live outside.
No, you don't. Yeah. And the truth of the matter is, if people will be honest, let's just tell the truth. Would you really want? You wouldn't want your doctor to look homeless.
No,
you wouldn't want you pull up to your doctor's office and he's outside coughing. You're going somewhere else because you want him to look like, here it is, what he's doing works.
Yeah.
If I'm telling you, hey, if you do this, your life is going to be better. You're going to want to see some sense of fruit, if I can use a churchy term, some sense of evidence like, hey, you know what? This is something that I can listen to because obviously these things are working in their life. So that's the way I look at it. Not to an extreme or an excessive point, but you have to be mindful of anything this, and even Kev, with the thing of well, this information was free. All of us have YouTube. Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All of us have access to how-to videos. But when your car needs service, chances are you're going to take it to a mechanic, even though you could go online and do it. The information is free. It's out there.
That is great.
Yeah. I'm in the book, Doc.
I'm in the book. He's walking heavy, as they say.
You'll understand it later.
By and by.
But you could go online and figure out how to do it. It's out there. It's free. Yeah. But when it comes down to it, you want somebody that's actually given their life to this, given their time to this, that can really, 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 really get the job done right. So
now, when you embraced that and you went with I'm a professional preacher. Were there other preachers? I know you were saying like you don't down anybody for whatever they do, but were there other preachers like, oh, what am I, an amateur preacher? What am I in the the CBA of preaching?
You're in the junior league.
Yeah. Was anybody did anybody
the D
give
league
attitude?
Big baller brand.
Big baller brand.
Yeah.
Right. Never lost. But to be clear, I don't call myself a professional preacher. I didn't realize I had made it until Kev called me and said, we want you to come on as the professional preacher.
Well, he said preaching is my job.
Right.
So I said he's a professional.
I just don't want somebody that says like, this dude really goes around. I am a professional preacher.
No. He just says I love my job.
Right. So as a preacher though, I think that really with any industry, whether it be with other comedians, artists, designers, whatever it is, I think there's always just that basic human nature element of whenever somebody's walking through certain doors or things are happening, sometimes people have a tendency to be mad at people for being where they think they should be. So you're getting dates, you're booked, you're out there, you're getting appearances, things are happening, whatever the case is for your context, there's always going to be somebody that's saying, well, that should be me. And that's not a preacher thing. I think that's ask a fill in the blank, whatever you do.
When we started the Real Comedian social media tour, bro, the streets was buzzing.
I can only imagine.
I ain't on the tour.
We go back.
Me. And there was people I didn't never have met, never talked to. I deserve to be on that tour.
As if you don't have the prerogative to determine who you want to work, who
Take
you gel with.
Tour. Why do you deserve to be on my tour?
The internet is not closed to you. You can get out there, put your videos up, edit your clips, but
people were legit mad.
Oh yeah.
It's that offense culture.
Why he booked me on it? I should do some dates.
I'm funny. I'm funny.
For real. And I was like,
dude, I was just...
And he, my best friend, never asked me for one day. One of my friends for 10 years. And a better comic than all the people who were like, I need to be on there. He never was like, can I get a date? The whole year.
Exactly. But people are entitled. People are selfish.
So true.
People don't understand sacrifice or relationship building. And so I think that that's a preacher thing, but that's a human thing.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
That's everybody. So unfortunately, even in church world, church culture, you still run into some of that, how come you got to go there? Or how come you got to, so that does not go away. And I think that sometimes we make the mistake in every industry of thinking there's a level we can reach where that stops. That doesn't stop.
Right.
It's you run into that at every level. It's bigger problems, bigger haters, whatever.
The songwriter said, more money, more problems.
That's what the songwriter said.
That was Mace, which, by the way, flew to Atlanta. He was on the same row as my wife.
What?
Yes. He asked for her. She was like, Kev, I think this is Mace. And she was like, he asked for her phone charger. And she was like, sure, you can borrow it, but are you Mace? And he was like, yes. Yes, I am. And he was a rapper, preacher.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think he's currently a rapper now.
Yeah, depends.
Professional rapper.
What's the day of the week? I think it's like a collegiate schedule. Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, though. We turning up now. But,
one thing I think is interesting, like, we'll just call him Professional Preacher X. Okay. A famous preacher. They get in hot
God bless
water
you.
for whatever. For a hurricane. For I want a jet. For I cheated on my wife. I was on drugs. When that happens, are you like, God, dog, now I got to answer all these questions? Because what happens in the news, they lump every preacher in the world. This is why I don't go to church. This is what's wrong with the church. Every YouTube video I do where there's something weird happening in the church, this is what's wrong with the church. The church been crazy. I submit the only thing that's new is that we have phones in our pocket and the internet. Because I grew up in church, and I know you did too. You have seen some funny stuff in church. There was just no way to share it. It's not necessarily worse or better. But anyway, back to my question. When that stuff happens, are you like, God dang it?
Yeah, without question, yes. And I think that you raised a great point. To use a scripture, the Bible talks about the fact that there is nothing new under the sun. Everything, all this, oh my God, this is no, all of this has happened before, not just when we were kids, not just when our parents were kids, but bro, go all the way back to the Bible.
That was wild. God destroyed the whole earth. He was like, man, you
reset.
know what?
I'm sick of this. I'm tired.
And then he saw Sodom and Gomorrah. He was like, we off that. Right. I'm gonna just go ahead and we done.
Forget it. We look
I feel
at
like
these
you have all these
people-
inside jokes that I'm just like, who?
By and by. Just remember,
I gotcha.
you'll understand it better.
Buy it?
But, something like that. You're getting closer. But even our biblical characters, their families had issues. There was infidelity. There was all kinds of stuff that happened. Prostitution, incest, rape, murder. All of that.
Yes.
Literally. So, you fast forward when you filter that through the lens of today, like you said, everybody, because of the way the world is set up, man, people use every opportunity, every incident as an opportunity to throw a rock at the church.
Yeah.
This is why I don't go. I mean, Walmart could raise the price on milk and there'll be people that, this is why I don't go to church. Wait.
It's true. So true.
This is you can save at Walmart, but this is not Jesus saves. This is not the same thing. This is what's wrong with you. No, wait, what? But because of that, I think that, and really, if you look at it if we can use the term industry without being offensive, lawyers hate to see other lawyers on the news for
embezzlement or
doctors,
whatever,
we might have competing firms, right? But I'm going to be upset if you get in trouble. You're on the news, local doctor, medical malpractice, because people don't process the uniqueness of situations. People don't factor in context, none of that. So it's just doctors. It's just school teachers. It's comedians. It's preachers. And I think preachers gets it worse because people have this unrealistic expectation that people that go to church are not still people. They're people that go to church, and we're so quick to play both sides. 1 minute when it's us, we'll say the church is a hospital. Y'all judging folk. Y'all don't y'all just want perfect people. Okay, that's fair. But then on the other side, when something happens where someone's imperfection is shown, then it's this attitude of y'all supposed to be this. Y'all supposed to be. Well, wait a minute.
That is a great point.
That's so true.
Wait, wasn't it a hospital for sick people?
It was a hospital yesterday. Today,
when you were sick, now it's supposed to be just this perfect. And so I think that, it always hurts, to see another preacher, another pastor, anybody related to the church. Really, if you're really saved, if I can say it that way, it should hurt you to see anybody going through. But especially when it's somebody that's a yoked man, a fellow. That's another one for you. Write that down.
Okay, equally yoked. I'm with you.
Not where I'm going. Yeah, okay. But you're in the.
I threw it out there. I was hoping for the best.
You're in the room.
I'm in the ballpark.
In the vineyard. It makes it even harder because again, you now have to bear that burden of seeing all those preachers just want your money. I'm working 3 jobs, to help keep the church alive. We have this reality show complex. If you ask the average Christian in America, and this is my personal opinion, they can name you maybe 3 mega preachers.
They're gonna go
Joel Osteen, T.D. Jakes, in no particular order. And then the third one is a toss-up depending on what part of the country they live in.
Yes, maybe Furtick.
Yeah. They might, I don't know.
Billy Graham,
who's no longer with us.
Yeah.
Don't know if you knew that, but
he's with us in spirit.
You didn't get invited? They didn't call you? Did nobody call you and tell you?
I don't know.
So they'll name 2 or 3 big preachers without factoring in there are hundreds of thousands of churches.
Listen, Mark, this is what I always say. In any field.
Did you hear his preacher voice?
I did.
It's happening.
Oh,
it's a transfer taking place.
Oh, yeah.
Will I get it?
LeBron James,
No.
right? Steph Curry, KD, whatever. They are literally the best at their field.
Absolutely.
That's 2-3 players.
You know their name.
Hundreds. Yes. The 9th guy on the Knicks bench.
Right.
You don't know that guy.
He's not buying Maybachs and Range Rovers for everybody on the block.
And there's more preachers by sheer number, who work a regular job, who are retired military, who are pouring their. I can think of one. I'm not going to shout his name out, but retired military, then worked another job, retired twice, and pours all his money into keeping a small church going with no money. He's losing it.
Exactly.
Losing money every month.
We're in love with the mega church idea.
Yeah.
But the average church in America is 75 people or less. That's statistically. That's Barna Group. That's research that. 75 people. So we think of these churches, we're in LA. So you think, of course, like Bishop Noel Jones. He was on my plane this morning.
Carlton Pearson. Was he in first class?
Yeah, he was. I was in the back. Yeah, I was in the back.
We couldn't get
you
the first
flew
class.
me out.
I looked at it.
It's okay. It's fine. It's fine. I waved.
I might could do comfort, but probably main cabin.
Extra leg room
in the first class. Okay, so
so you got him. You got the Bishop Blakes. You got Dr. Ulmer. You got all of these people out here. But the average church, in order to get to City of Refuge, you're passing 50 churches that are going to have 30 people in there.
So we were looking for office space.
That's so
right. In the office, there's a church in there, 700 square feet. They have church in an office space. You could maybe fit 20 people if they're like wall to wall. Actually, they had a smaller unit. When we drive down Reseda Boulevard, there's probably no lie, 50 churches on this street.
I believe that.
All storefronts.
I believe
Mexican churches, when I drive past them, first of all, they go hard.
Yes, they do.
10:30.
All night. All night.
On Tuesday night, the kids are please, I have school. Please. There's 8 people in there, maybe. In all the different ones, 100 people, maybe, of all those churches.
Exactly.
And that's just replicated all over,
So
United
how
States.
Ridiculous is it then to say those 8 people just in there for the money? They're not in there for the money.
Right.
There is no money in there.
Dude, it's so crazy you're saying that, because as you're saying that, I mean, I'm one of those people.
Keep the place.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm one of those people that, like, when I did go to church, it was Maranatha, which is huge in Portland. Yeah, yes, sir. But like I don't think about, like, I mean, you see like little churches in movies and stuff, but you don't think those exist. And and you talking about having these side jobs and side hustles, the parallel is like as a comic, like, like you see these comics on TV, and then you tell somebody you do stand up, and they're like, oh, so what movies have you been in, or what TV? And you're like,
Dave Chappelle or nothing.
Yeah, no. Not even just I do stand up. I live in LA.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you live in. So how's Ed? Were you at Eddie's house? No, I wasn't at Eddie's house.
I was telling Kev, like, I just
Eddie
saw
Murphy. Why would I know him?
You live in LA. Of course, you know Eddie Murphy.
He lives in a different LA.
Dude, I was telling Kev, like, I think it was 2 days ago. I was driving back from Phoenix. Did a weekend in Phoenix. Drove back. 6-hour drive. So 6 hours out there, 6 hours back. Filming this today. Tomorrow, I got to go back to Phoenix to do a fundraiser, but that's another 6 hours there, 6 hours back. And Kev's like, how do you do it? And I'm like, I don't have airfare money to be doing all that. Like, I'm doing the fundraiser. I'm losing money doing it, but you do what you got to do. And so it's like, I'll be honest, I never think of that. Like you said, I just think of like, preachers on this pedestal, and you don't think about the
You're
small
just a
churches.
working comic trying to chase your dream.
There's a Dave Chappelle, there's a Chris Rock, there's a
Bill Burr, Joe Rogan. Yeah.
There's a Joe Rogan, and then there are a million others trying to get to the household name status.
There's Crack 'em Up Thursdays where 12 comedians out of 12 you have never
Put
heard
your
of,
name on the hat.
and you likely will never hear of.
Exactly.
It's like baseball. Like,
Exactly.
you know how many baseball players there are professionally?
Bro.
You got, and baseball is perfectly, actually a good correlate to, because I can't probably name you 5 professional baseball players right now.
I can't right
Maybe
now.
Mike Trout.
Mookie Betts, sorry. Mookie Blaylock's basketball player.
The black dude from the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah.
Andrew something.
Is that his name?
No. But like
a
the
weird
minor
name.
leagues,
Yeah.
there's a whole team of guys who
It's
just
a minor
busting
league
it.
a whole
team
league.
in every city.
Yes.
I mean-
El Paso has a baseball team.
Yeah.
So
So
then,
Oklahoma has a baseball team.
so this actually brings up a great question. I'll say it for myself. Going along with this parallel thinking of like with comics. So how does as a preacher, like you don't wake up today and go, I want to be a preacher, and then you get to just go to the front of the church and start.
No.
So what's your
Mark
like?
is a
What's
popular
like?
preacher. He's being humble right now.
That's
but
the
he's-
church way of saying humble.
No H.
The H goes silent.
Yeah, it was so humble.
The H
before
is
the Lord.
holy.
Why?
Humbly
We
bow
sanctify
before
the
him.
H.
Is it like
Humbly.
the Crips and B's and H is
I-
hell or
there's
something?
no- Here's the thing you'll learn about the black church. The slang, no rhyme or reason.
None.
When you're talking about a building, a new one, it's an edifice.
Edifice. And it has a vestibule.
We're
It's
gonna
the
be out
foyer in the
foyer.
front.
I think I drive there in a vestibule.
But actually, repeat your question. 'cause I
No,
got distracted.
so what is the equivalent of as a like you're starting out your first day? You're like, I know this is my
What's
calling.
the open mic of a
What's the
preacher?
open mic? Exactly. You took my line. I was
Sunday
trying to
school.
I was getting there. I was trying to get there.
I
That's where
stole
was
it from
That's
you,
all right.
just like you stole our land.
I got called a colonizer at this Black History show.
That happens. That
was like,
happens
all right,
sometimes.
I get it.
That happens. That happens.
Took it on the chin. Yeah. So what is the like open mic of a brand new preacher?
That's a good question.
thank you.
I've never really thought of it in open mic terms,
Right.
but I want to be clear because I know different people. Such a wide audience is going to watch this. I'm not a good example. I'll tell you why. I'm not a good example of how to start from nowhere and develop something. Here's why. I'm literally a 5th generation preacher. PK, right?
Okay.
My mother, my father, my grandmother, my grandfather,
Dang.
both sides. Great 5 generations
Both
deep.
sides?
Both
I didn't know it was
sides, bro.
both sides.
Bro,
I knew the Moors.
Dang.
In my home church in Tacoma, Washington,
Yeah.
Mark's granddad was in the hallways, like the Hall of Fame, like so to speak.
Yeah,
He was not world renowned, but he was very popular within our denomination.
Yeah. I say that to say, because a lot of times people will come up at my conference with, man, I've been preaching for 5 years and I haven't had this. And I tell them it would be very convenient to say, oh yeah, I'm just over. Nah. When I started at 18 years old as a freshman at Morehouse College, people started calling me to come do youth day and have him come do the children's anniversary choir Sunday or have him come do this. Not because he's so great. He's such a great speaker. That's Lil Mark. Mark and Shirley's son. He'll be great. Call little. So
you had preacher privilege.
I had preacher privilege. Right? That's a great way to put it. In a sense,
privilege.
and not so much. I'll shift it from nepotism to simply
More like
name
Rockefeller
recognition.
thing. Like the Kennedys.
Exactly.
You're almost born into politics.
So people knew them.
Yeah.
So by virtue of knowing them, they knew me.
Yeah.
So I was blessed with the advantage of, we know his parents, we knew his grandparents, we knew his grandmother, his grandfather. So it comes with a sense of credibility. We know he's going to get here and he's going to act like he's been somewhere before.
Right.
He's not going to, act a fool or do something crazy. So that's my story. Now, to get to the heart of your question, I think that really depends, and Kev, you speak to this too. I think that depends on the cultural context of the church that you're a part of, because different groups, different denominations have very different open mic processes.
Right, yeah.
Some churches, you gotta come to 6 months of classes, and then they'll let you speak to the 5 people in the class at a certain point, and they'll let you do Sunday school, or you'll teach the kids or something, and then it goes from there. Others, in 2019, some people literally, they do just almost open up an open mic, and I'm a pastor now. I'm a preacher. They get on Facebook. They get on Instagram.
Oh, there's so many Facebook.
And I've got a church.
Or they go
now.
on a street corner, I'm sure. Like that probably is good.
That's not fun. So nobody does that. But people have no problem going online, and you can be whatever you want to be online.
True.
Oh, yeah.
I've graduated from YouTube seminary, YouTube divinity school. I've stolen all of Pastor Kevin's messages.
Right.
I've stolen all
man.
of, you know what I mean? So now I'm regurgitating stuff. And the truth is, a good clip can get you invited. And really, you can apply this. You tell me if I'm wrong. You can apply that to comedy. You might not have a full set, but somebody sees one.
Chris Tucker.
One good joke.
The legend about Chris Tucker is when his Def Jam, their legend, he only had 10 minutes of comedy. Wow. And that 10 minutes that he spread across Def Jam got him Friday, Rush Hour, and he never he never did a special.
Wow,
he went straight from Def Comedy Jam to movies.
That's true.
So sometimes you can get by off that.
That one clip.
Angela Johnson.
Mike Todd is a great example.
Yeah.
Mike Todd is a preacher in Oklahoma. He had a video go viral last year. David. He was like singing. It was a great message. 1 minute. Like, I followed him. And I was talking to somebody in Tulsa about it this last week, and he was like, dude, he went from like 6,000 followers to like 60,000. He's got like 500,000 now.
Like that.
Because he's a great preacher, but he went viral. And that's, it's the same thing as comedy. Interestingly enough, Jay, when I was a preacher, preaching consistently, I was more of the opposite of what Mark had. But my pastor saw something in me, so I started speaking every youth Sunday. And then people would come. People started hearing like, yo, this dude's preaching on second Sunday. You should come and hear him. And then you get invited to somebody's youth Sunday, like Mark said, within your city. And then it's just like stand-up. Like, you see that, I saw that.
You had a good set.
They give you a DVD.
You
put your DVD online.
That was a great set.
Somebody sees it. Oh, wow, he's good. Let's bring him out.
I got shirts in the back. Literally selling my DVD. Okay, so along that same lines, as you're writing out your message for the day or the word of the day, so to speak, how is that? Do you write it all out and then like do it in the mirror or like walking around the house? Some
amen.
Well, some amen. Well, like in stand up, there's some people that write every day and they'll rep it before they go on stage, and then some people will have like an outline and the second part of that question, do you ever get something where you're like, okay, this is my word of the day or message of the day, and you're like, oh man, this is gonna crush. Sometimes you're like, this will be, but yeah, man, this is gonna crush. This new bit is gonna crush.
Interestingly enough, it's usually those moments or those nuggets that you think are gonna kill that when you drop them and everybody's just like.
It's like the new punchline that you're like, and punchline.
It's like that. So, I think
when the Holy Ghost unctions you while you're speaking, it's something that you had not written in your notes. When I was preaching and I would have like a good thing, it would never be something that I like now. And this is why the studying is so important.
Yeah,
you're reading the scripture, you're reading the context, you're doing reference. This book is like a partner with this book, and Paul was writing to these people. So when you have that big amount of knowledge, you can pull from scriptures that make sense and to make your point. You know what I mean? So I think that happens a lot of times. For me, that's what happened a lot of times.
You're absolutely right. And I think that this is why it's so important in preacher world, I'll say, for preachers, really, I'm gonna be honest, for all believers to not just study or read the Bible or read their word or pray, all of that. It's not only important that you do that when you're getting ready for a message or for this word of the day, to use your term, or for I have to preach on this Sunday, so let me just study something and I'm just reading, or I had an idea and I'm just trying to support my idea. It's important that we're really, as believers, reading and praying and studying, really to live
in season and out of season.
And then yes, sir. And then preaching out of our overflow, if I can say it that way. Because when you get up there, I mean, as a believer, if you really believe that God's speaking to you and you have a word for these people in the room, sometimes that changes. Or sometimes, everybody doesn't receive things the same way. Every church is different. Just let's use the parallel. Every club is different. Every stand-up audience is not the same.
It's like you're riffing. Like
exactly. So you have to kind of, it's a dance between figuring out how do these people respond. And then if I'm limited in my exposure, and so now I only equate doing well with people that are running around and jumping and throwing stuff and what do I do when I go to a church where when they're really, really into it, they're listening?
A white church, I get it.
That's what I was trying to say. I want you to feel
got
comfortable bringing you in slowly.
They can do the video
When I
and
go to
show
your-
me saying that, not you.
Exactly.
I got you.
know.
I got your back.
White churches matter.
Oh man! All right, now you said
what
that
do
one.
I do? They do. I love them. I'm going soon. So what do I? Church, 37 minutes, and you back at the house. We're still on praise and worship. You're at brunch, but I'm sorry.
No,
You know,
hey, it's true.
And it's not really a color thing. It's cultural, and that applies to all colors. Some people, some groups, that the culture of that church is they're quiet, they're listening, they're taking notes. You can't base, oh my God, did I do good, based on one particular reaction unless you're okay with being limited to one particular audience.
Yep.
Same thing with anything. If you
I
only
did a show that was all Asians, and Josh was there, and I was like, man, I don't know how. But when I came out, I thought I just did okay. When I was out there, like that was amazing because black people, even look at magicians.
Yeah.
When they show black people magic, we're like, oh, do it again. We are so, but we're very charismatic.
Yeah.
And when he shows white people, they're like,
Very
oh
expressive.
man, that's crazy. But we are
Very
super
expressive.
expressive. That's why magicians are like, well, you got to get the blacks. Right. The blacks be going ham for magic.
Now, when you talking about that, like riffing and playing off stuff, have you? What is the craziest thing? Like, I remember when I was at Maranatha, we used to have this dude in the back that all he would do all church, he would just go, word. That's all he would do all church long. He used to crack me up. Has there ever been something, or what is something that somebody said while I guess that's the best way to say it, or they said something that you had to be like, all right, I need a minute, because I've never heard it.
I don't know if I should say this.
Oh, you have one then. You have one.
Bro, I got it. Would you like them categorically or alphabetically? Crazy stuff happened, especially, man. I was at, oh man.
You don't have to say the place.
Okay.
Just what it was.
That doesn't really matter as much. I was in the South in an urban setting. A lot of black people.
Yeah, I know what urban means.
There was a guy there, really good guy. I actually came to know him after this through social media, but he had, I think the way the story went, he had recently been out he was like a former drug dealer, like a real street guy that had come to church, got saved. And so while he was saved, his lingo wasn't yet.
Yeah.
Okay. So in certain cultures, certain ways of expressing yourself,
right.
is acceptable. And I don't know what I was preaching about, but I was telling his story, and he yelled, and this is a big church.
Oh,
it was
man.
like maybe 1,500 people.
I love this already.
He yells, "Preach,
Mother.
N-word." Yeah. It happened. And I mean, he pulled down from a deep place. I mean, and here's the thing. As uncouth and all of that, it was so, I know this sounds crazy.
Refreshing.
It was so sincere.
Oh yeah.
It's like
it's from his soul.
It was Jesus Christ, I love you, God.
Bro, it was him in the framework that he was most comfortable with, saying like, bro, you talking to me.
I don't have time to be politically correct.
I don't have time.
That's my boy. I'll kill y'all for my boy.
The
Mark.
whole church, was like,
You preaching good on the hood, cuz it's whatever.
yeah. It's like, yeah.
Oh, they were cool with it.
They were cool with it because
They're like, we'll work with him. He's
new. Everybody understands. He's new. See me.
His heart's in the right spot.
Right. But that's the thing. Everybody realized like he's being sincere.
Oh, yeah.
This is how he knows to whatever.
Right.
So that one threw me because it's like, wait, what?
What did you do?
When you're up, stand up. When you're up doing the presentation, whatever it is, you guys know what it is to have 30 conversations going on at once.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's that kid doing? What, whose kid needs a whipping? Who is
Right,
that? Why are you
right,
crying?
right.
Am I losing my voice? Is the mic good?
Oh yeah, it's so
It's
funny.
hot. Is the sweat about to get in my eye?
always worried about that.
Do they
All
notice
of
that
this.
I'm sweating?
Do they?
Yeah. Do they think that's weakness?
Why is my iPad freezing? Oh my God, are my notes in the wrong order? Did I delete them? All of these conversations. So, man, I've had so many crazy things.
How did you react to that one?
He went harder.
for a
I know
second
he did.
and just kept going.
Oh, okay.
Because it was like,
Do you address it?
I had to. Do I address? I had to filter which tone of N was that?
Thank you.
Was that? Was that get your hand on my pocket? Wait, what? Does he think I'm a guest here? Are you looking for something? So it's all of that, man. I mean, the craziest stuff happens in church. Man.
That's so interesting because, dude, there is so many parallels because, like, you know, a lot of times you get hecklers that they don't realize they're heckling. Like you may say something and they just repeat it, but it's like obnoxious and it's distracting. And you, like you said, you'll be in your head going, and people don't know this, but like we'll be saying a joke, and in our head you'll be like, okay, do I address this now? If I address this, they may come back, and then or they may get hurt, and then that's going to make it awkward. And all this is going through your head as you're telling another joke, or as you're preaching the word. You know, it's so crazy.
Yeah,
it's beyond crazy.
I have a question for you, unrelated to anything we were just talking about.
Okay,
it's about money.
Okay,
so in my mind, people put a cap on what they think a preacher shouldn't make, right? And they don't want to hear like the truth. So we're talking about Jakes, Osteen, Furtick. Majority of them at that level, they don't have to take a salary from the church. They have, like TD Jakes, for example, he produces movies, he's TV shows, he has books, he gets speaking engagements.
Yeah.
So why do you think people are so concerned, so to speak, with how much a preacher makes and how that money comes?
You know, that's an amazing question. If I knew the answer, I'd gladly tell you. I really would. But regardless of why they feel so entitled to have an opinion, the fact of the matter is they do feel entitled. And I think that it's problematic because I can't think, you guys are smarter than me, but maybe y'all can tell me. I can't think of another industry where people are so obsessed not just with knowing what they make, but then criticizing what they make. You look at professional sports, right? And I'm not at all minimizing the workload of being a professional athlete. It is intense.
Right.
It's $1 billion. All of the big three leagues, the football, NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, they're multi-billion-dollar industries.
Yes.
So absolutely, the players should be compensated. But nobody says, wait a minute, he's only 21 years old? You guys give him $140 million? That's ridiculous. Nobody says that.
And you know what's even worse? In professional soccer in Europe, they're pro at like 9.
They're pro at like 9.
They're signing their first deal at like, I'm talking about tens of millions of euros?
Yeah.
At 12.
Nobody
13.
says he shouldn't. Nobody says, don't you know that there are poor people that are fans of this team that are buying tickets?
This episode of Coming to the Stage is brought to you by BetterHelp. Life can be overwhelming, guys, and many people are burned out without even knowing it. Symptoms can include lack of motivation, feeling helpless or trapped, detachment, fatigue, and more. Look, I'm a creator. You guys know this. I work hard. I'm always thinking about something. Just today, I shot for my masterclass, added 4 new lectures to that. I am in pre-production for a movie I'm working on, and I'm giving notes in post-production for something that I just finished shooting, not to mention keeping up with my current social media posts, of which I need to shoot this ad, and afterwards shoot something else for TikTok, and then shoot a brand deal. You think that doesn't get to me? It does. We can associate burnout with work, but that's not the only cause. Any of our roles in life can lead us to feeling burned out. And BetterHelp Online Therapy wants to remind us to prioritize ourselves. Talking with someone can help you figure out what's causing you stress in your life. Balance is a myth. All we can do is do our best. I got all the creator stuff, then I got to go and be a husband, then I got to go be a father. And the only way I can make it through all that is by talking to someone with BetterHelp, okay? Therapy has changed my life, saved my life, has given me a better quality of life. And I want the same thing for you, okay? BetterHelp is a customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist. So you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy. And you can be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. Coming to the Stage listeners can get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/stage. That's BetterHelp.com/stage. Check that out. And now back to the show.
How was the player? How is he going to drive a Bugatti to the game? And there are people catching the bus to the Staples Center.
You know what else?
Nobody does that.
You know what else?
I never thought of that ever.
You would
Now,
also
in church, that's the main argument. There are poor people in that congregation. Well, there are poor people at your job, but you still cash your check.
That ain't my problem.
Well, not only that, you would think that, and you're saying in your own church, people would be like, you know what's the trip is you would think that, like if you're my preacher, I go to your church, much like I want Tom Brady, he's got 6 rings, I want to pump him up, that I want you to be the best.
Right.
That you can be like, I got 6 sermons or whatever, 6 rings, 6, whatever. I want to pump you up, my preacher's the best and he's got, he deserves this and he earned that. But you don't get that. That's a trip.
And then go further, you've got the professional sports analogy, but then even look at like music, right? We just had the Grammys recently. Nobody says anything about young artists, even if the music is not positive. You wrote a song about selling drugs, shooting somebody's mama,
right?
Burning down a hospital,
right?
And you're now a multi-millionaire. Nobody says, why are we giving all this money for all this negative that's affecting our community?
Right.
People say, he worked hard. He should get that.
Yeah.
There's nothing positive taking place. Right. There's no community development taking place. There's no life change for the positive. People dance, they feel good, they spend money, whatever. But when it comes to church, and I want to be very clear, because there is absolutely, as in any industry, the possibility and the potential, and there are people that take advantage. There are people that are shisty and sleazy and don't walk in integrity. But I think that if a ministry is financially secure and stable, I think that they should compensate the leaders of that ministry, because again, ministry is a business.
Yeah.
And people say that in a negative sense, but I don't, why? There are facilities that are purchased and maintained. There are staffs.
Even in the Bible, they had alms. Like, we gotta pitch in.
That's what I'm saying.
So people could do so we can have this.
People are so quick to say the church should be doing this. Well, how is the church going to do this if the church has no money? Yeah. Why aren't y'all feeding the poor? You do know that we don't go to the store and just speak in tongues. And chicken, you say? Oh, okay, here. It doesn't work like that.
Was that out of the bush or out of the sheep?
Right. It's baked or fried. No, you
different dialect.
You have to give them money, and then you. So
that's so true. A lot, and people harp on big mega churches. They don't have programs. Every mega church has insane amount of community programs,
countless,
and I mean, like
senior living stuff. I was at a church this past week in Milwaukee, amazing church, Holy Redeemer Church of God in Christ, just an incredible campus. They own like 50 something properties in a 2-block radius there in Milwaukee. They've built the largest boys and girls club in the city. They've got a high school, they've got an elementary school, they've got a charter school, they've got a geriatric center, they've got a senior living facility, they've got all of this stuff going on. And I was sitting there saying, like, how do people look and say churches need to be doing more and say churches want your money? No, what are they doing with the money? They're spending it. Nobody calls Sprint. I would pay my bill, but I don't know what Sprint's doing with my money. They're spending it, fam.
Yeah.
So funny. Yeah. I don't know what Sprint's doing with money.
I would go to Target, but I don't know what they're doing with it. They're spending it.
That's what
they're keeping the lights on. What do you do with money?
Yeah.
Such a good
What
point.
are you doing? Oh, I don't know. The churches, what are they doing with it? They're spending it.
They're paying the musician. Well, do you want to hear songs without music?
And here's the thing, and people will leave a church and say, "Oh, this just ain't all of that." They run down. They're tired. They're not progressive. They don't have the right daycare facility, the right children's church. Well, that costs money. That costs money.
Yeah.
I want my preacher. And again, I think this crosses color lines, denominational lines. I want my preacher to be Superman. I want him at every graduation. I want him at every baby dedication. Every time I get sick, I want him to come pray for me in the hospital. I want him, my daddy got gout. I want him to call and check on my daddy. I want all of this, but I want him to do it for free.
Yeah, exactly.
Why?
Yeah.
How does that make sense? Again, don't hear this and say that everything the church brings in is supposed to go to the pastor. No, there's supposed to be a responsible plan and checks and balances. Yeah. But if the ministry, and some of these ministries, certainly not all, not even most, but some of these ministries are multi-million-dollar businesses, and they're blessing the community. They matter. If that church went away today, there are churches in this city and all kind of cities across the country. If that church went away, that community would suffer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why would the leader of that not be able to benefit and be blessed? That's how I see it.
You got good answers.
I try, man.
I'm gonna throw a curveball at you.
Throw it, man.
You are very popular preacher, you have a very popular conference. I am completely copying a lot of stuff you're doing for the Love Hour conference, and I hide it not.
Don't hide it, man.
Going to your conference this year to speak.
Yes,
and
you
then
are.
to steal all your ideas.
Steal all of it, man.
I'm
It's all
going to
yours.
steal, because you had a great conference. I was really blessed by it.
I'm glad,
I was actually mad I didn't get to stay more and like just be a student.
This
right?
year, you guys are doing the whole thing, right?
This year, I have blocked my calendar out to be able.
Are you coming?
Oh, well, much like your struggles, I don't have the money.
They have scholarships.
Really?
We have scholarships.
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
Oh, when is it?
August 15th through 17th.
15th through 17th.
I'll look at, dude, I'll go.
Okay.
Come on.
Kev will put it. That's cool.
So what I was going to
heard
say
it
is, you are young and single. Are the women of God throwing that thing at you?
That was one of the questions. I'm glad you. Yeah,
Because I venture to say I know they are. I know they're like, well, you could preach over me any day. You can lay your hands on more than my head.
oh man.
I know it is.
Put some
yeah.
respect on my name. I'm walking out.
Yeah, and you're
Women are attracted to power a lot of times.
Yeah.
That's true.
And
You know what
he's
I mean?
not, harsh on the eyes. It's
Oh, he's young and
Thank you.
handsome.
Yeah,
He's young and handsome.
yeah.
Man, I'm gonna stick to the thing we've had consistently going through. I think that this applies. You really touched on it. People are attracted to what they perceive to be power.
Yeah.
And whatever industry I'm affiliated with, if comedy is my thing, then the up and coming comic is powerful. If sports is my thing, then the up and coming recruit, he's going first round.
Yeah.
She's going whatever. That's my power. If I've grown up in church, and church is all I know, my heroes are the preachers, the ones that are traveling.
That's how I grew up.
Jet setting, catching flights. That's attractive. So, I think that there are people in every industry, and church included, that will look at and say, I want. Because we're talking about me, I know it applies for men and women, but I'll speak to the female side as a man. I know that there are a lot of women in church whose entire identity is wrapped up in, I hope I can be a first lady one day.
Dude.
And there are guys that feel that same way about women in ministry, because I'm definitely equal.
There are some girls who are 20 years old.
Bro, this is my vision
like
board.
they're like 55-year-old. Like, why are you dressing like you're 19?
She's prepping.
Stop it.
She's prepping.
Get something from. I mean, you don't have to dress nasty,
right?
But you got a veil and like some of stuff.
Your grandmama want her hat back. That's all I'm saying.
You look like white diamonds.
You smell like white diamond. That is the official. I know you go to church. You know about white diamond. That is the official fragrance of seasoned women in Zion. When you walk to church and smell white diamond, you know she got peppermints in her purse. She got plastic on her furniture.
Oh my God.
But so I think that, and certainly that's not all, but that's the goal for some. I don't even know you. I don't even like you, but you're a preacher. So you equal potential first lady for me. I don't know what kind of music you like. I don't know what kind of food you. Doesn't really matter. You preach. You're gonna have a big church.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get an armor bearer. We'll explain later. Okay.
Are there knights in church? Armor bearer.
Kinda. No, almost.
All right.
I'm gonna get an adjutant in a parking spot, and they're gonna stand when I walk in. They're gonna clap. They're gonna call me elect or whatever.
Right.
So that's attractive to some people.
Yeah.
And it is what it is.
What cracked me up is how there's two people that asked that question, and one of them asked it, do women really come at you like that? That was one of the people asked the question. I wanted to ask you, does it discourage, well, this is one of the questions. Does it discourage you to see people asleep in pews? And what do you do when you get burnt out?
Well, to the first one about the sleeping pews, it depends. All right. It depends, one, how long have they been asleep?
Are they snoring?
Are they snoring? Did they fall asleep when I got up? If they were napping before I got up, it's cool. Rest on, my brother. Rest on. You had a long week. How old are they? Because as a church kid, I have slept in many services.
Yeah.
You know, you're a real PK when folks can be running and shouting and jumping and you are not.
Unbothered.
Just unbothered. I'm going to school in the morning. I know what it is, bro. We would come to church with our pajamas.
I did that.
Oh yeah, starts getting late. Go put your pajamas on.
Right.
The back pew was the homework pew.
Right.
Just go back there, do your homework.
Yeah.
And then we'll be going home at 11. So I'm not bothered by people sleeping. usually now if you like knocked out little
Drill, yeah.
now, I'm gonna do something to wake you up.
They're just leaning on
I'm gonna
the
use an
connection.
illustration or something. You know, like the devil will slap you. No, like just knock you down sometimes. Just shake you.
Dude, I remember when I was used to go to Maranatha. So two of my closest friends, Matt and Mark Garlington, their dad was John Garlington, was the pastor at Maranatha. But I remember, so one of them played music in the church, right?
Okay.
He was playing over at a Baptist church, right?
Okay.
And so I think it was Matt was like, hey, come with me, we'll go over and hang out and, watch Mark play. So I was like, cool. So we're in church. I'm the only white person in the whole church, right? Totally fine. Maranatha is predominantly black, right? Whatever, cool. But then Matt kept cracking jokes and trying to make me laugh. And he was, and I'm like, dude, people are gonna think I'm just the most disrespectful person. Right. So I'm biting my tongue, my hand, I'm crying. Right. And people are like, oh, he's touched.
That plays well in my
yeah, exactly.
That's good.
They're like, oh, he's feeling it. I was like, yeah, man. Dude, do you ever get that where you see or how do you deal with horseplay in church?
Horseplay?
And we weren't kids. This is
25 at this time.
20s. We were. And I'm like,
this size.
Dude, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Full size. Again, man, and I don't think people believe me, but the funniest stuff, and it's hard to say this to two comedians, but the funniest stuff does not happen in the comedy club. It does not happen at the tour. It happens in church, man. And so you have to, I'm talking about hair falling off. I'm talking about, teeth falling out. I'm talking about just all kind of stuff. So growing up in that, you learn how to take it in stride. And as a from a mature perspective, you as a kid, everything is funny. And you imitate it when church is over. But as an adult, and when you're really in the ministry and everything, your main goal is simply to make sure that whatever happens doesn't throw off the service.
Yeah.
Right? Because, again, at the end of the day, there are people here that came to get something from God. People, not to be morbid, but there's sometimes people sitting in your church that are thinking about suicide, that are thinking about homicide, that are thinking about all kinds of stuff. People depressed, broken, hurting, don't love themselves, don't know if God loves them. And so you want to do everything you can to prevent the moment that could possibly reach them from being lost in something funny happening, but the funny is gonna happen. It's without, bro. Yeah. And it's just how you manage that.
So with that, also, how do you deal with burnout? When you ever have days where you're just like, man, I really just want to watch football this Sunday.
Absolutely. Long story short, that absolutely happens, and don't let anybody tell you that doesn't. Because if so, they're better than Jesus. Because even Jesus had a moment in the garden where he said, look, Father, let this cup pass from me. Surely somebody else can
Basically,
do this.
Jesus was like, fam,
Right.
are you sure it has to be me?
Can
I know
somebody else
I'm
do
supposed
this?
to do this? I'm your son-in-law. I heard all that.
Bro.
But this is going to be hard, bro. I ain't really trying to do it.
We talk about David. David was a man after God's own heart, but David got to a place where he had to encourage himself. He was despondent within himself. So everybody, Jeremiah, nicknamed the weeping prophet because he was crying all the time. He was depressed. Everybody that God used had a moment where they were like, look, let somebody else do this. This is ridiculous. And so sometimes I think in generations past specifically, sometimes in some circles in church, we've portrayed this super, I never get tired, I never get weary, I always want to do this. And it sounds good. It plays great on Sunday morning, but it's not accurate. And so I think that, to deal with burnout, you have to go back and examine what was it that lit the fire in the first place. So a lot of times, and I think this also applies outside of just preachers, but certainly in our context, we get burnt out, and some people get burnt out so fast, so quick, and can't reignite it because they weren't really called to it in the first place. It's so much easier to get burnt out when you're doing something that you're not really built for.
Oh, yeah.
People ask me, how do I keep doing it? I can't not do it.
You love it.
There's days when my voice hurts, that's my next question for you. And I'm just sick and I don't want to go to the gym or whatever, but I always can gather the energy to make a video.
Why? Because that's your job.
I know
you
you
can use the metaphor.
Absolutely. Preach.
Talk,
I remember one time.
It's happening. It's a transfer. You'll explain that later.
I was in Fayetteville, man.
That's
I
what
had
Caitlyn
eaten
Jenner,
something
right?
weird. I had a headache. I had a stomach ache. I had eaten something weird like that week, and I was like weak. But when those lights came on and they coming to the stage, I'm like, bruh, you just block all that out. So you are what we call a hooper. You know, you preach. Did you have to? How do you protect your voice preaching all that? Because I had a lot of shows the last week, and my voice has been strained because I've been doing all these podcasts and traveling a lot. Like, what do you do to protect your voice?
I want to be 100% honest. This is something that I'm really investigating myself because you all have heard, you know, on TV or whatever, the 60-year-old preacher that sounds like, you know, he's and we just thank God because everybody is and they done ripped all of this to shreds. It's gone. It's gone.
Right.
And we just, and you know, I don't want to be 35 sounding like I'm 80. You know? I don't want the Bishop Jakes, you know, voice, you know, at my son's kindergarten graduation, you know.
Just thanking God
we
for
just thank God for Mark the Third.
Dad, can you just
this is my regular voice, son. Dad, this is how I talk now. No, you know, so I'm really trying to investigate more about vocal health. My little sister, shout out to Sharon, she's a phenomenal singer. My mom is a great singer. And again, because I come from a long line of preachers and really vocal preachers, singers, musicians, people that their voice is their instrument. It's their tool. You know, I've really been conscious about that because when you talk about not just the strain of hollering and yelling, but then you've put that in 3 or 4 different climates in a week.
Oh,
you know, you put that on an airplane.
Lack of rest.
You're not
lack
sleeping.
Of proper rest.
And then we don't really emphasize enough the impact that diet has on our voice, what we're eating, that dairy, that milk, that ice cream, that milkshake. Okay, you're going to be coughing up phlegm the entire
or some
show.
with heartburn. And then,
exactly. That acid is ripping your stuff up. So I've asked this question a lot, and it's so funny because I can't tell you how many ancient, deep, down home slave remedies. What you want to do is you want to get a teaspoon of hot sauce and boil it with some lemon rinds.
You're like, that doesn't sound right.
Leave it in the microwave for 3 minutes, put it on the stove, then just sniff it. Wait, what? You'll be clear as day. Nah, that don't sound legal. I don't know what that is. So like I can go to jail for mixing this up. But you know, I mean, throat coat tea is good stuff. And then the main thing, I talked to Marvin Sapp about this because he's in a different city every day, hollering, yelling, never would have made it and all of that. He said his secret is sleep.
Yeah.
He said nothing is as good for your voice as rest. He said, so before I go out to a concert, he said, I take a nap. I lay down and I let it rest.
Interesting.
When I'm not working, I'm quiet. So I'm trying to find that out.
Because I'm like, man, I've been losing my voice. I can feel it strained right now. And I got 2 more of these today, and Jay doesn't care. Shut up, Jay. Shut up. Here's my question. There's 2. Did you work a regular job prior to preaching?
Long story short, not really. Because I started at 18, freshman year in college. And while I started and it was immediately... my phone was ringing immediately because that's little Mark. Boy. That's Mark's. That's little Mark's and Shirley's son. By the time I graduated, it was a little different because I started 2006. Right, that's really around the time when YouTube really started gaining traction, and so I hit it at the right time. So I was putting, as a 18-year-old kid, I was putting my little YouTube clips up. People were singing. I figured out how to tag stuff right.
Dang.
So those videos started getting 20, 30, 40, 50,000 views.
Great marketer. He had 3,000 people at his Love Hour conference. How many followers do you have on Instagram?
I don't have a Love Hour conference.
I mean, Love Hour conference.
That's you're speaking those things, though.
We get it.
Young Leaders Conference.
We get it.
But
always
how many followers do you have on
plugging.
Instagram?
I have like 40.
40,000.
I need you to give me some.
I'm follow M Moore Jr.
right now
on Instagram.
Right now,
3,000 people came to his conference with 40,000 followers on Instagram.
So it's leveraging those things. So by the time I graduated, people were really calling me because things were, good things were happening when I would come. And so, that's, what was the question?
Did you ever have a job before?
Yeah, okay, there we go. Sorry, got thrown off.
You were doing a great job dancing around.
I was dancing, bro. I was Gregory Hines. And,
God's just been doing a new thing.
But no, so to the regular job thing, by the time I graduated, I really went into full-time ministry, which is the traveling piece, but what people don't understand or see is that when I'm not here or on the road or whatever, I'm at my church.
Right.
You will fly back and preach Sunday morning and get there Sunday morning.
Bro, I'll fly back for Sunday school.
That
I'm not even preaching. I'm just there just trying to be faithful, trying to be, consistent. So I'm in the office at the church making calls, scheduling appointments, confirming other speakers, writing curriculum or programs for the church. So it's people think, oh, you're a full-time preacher. It's just limousines and suites. No, it's not.
That's a good point.
Bro,
that
no.
leads me to my next question.
No,
What's
it's
the
not.
biggest misconception about being a full-time preacher?
I think I just said it accidentally. People thinking that the one or two reality show examples they have is what all church is like.
Right.
I mean, everybody's giving you big checks and you got entourages. Bro, do you know how many times I've been picked up at the airport in a church school bus?
Oh.
Really?
Bro, no. You're not understanding what I'm saying. I'm talking about a yellow Bluebird with the church name on the not the short bus, bro. I remember once I was standing outside the terminal. I was like, man, somebody's getting picked up in a school bus.
Oh, dude.
What a loser.
That's me.
Thing pulls up, Deacon opens up, Elder Mo! Oh, man, this bus is for me. This bus is for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't no limit, no seatbelt, bro. Just me and my bag. Me and Deacon on the
And
bus.
those seats are hard.
They are hard. They are hard. These were made for children that had buoyancy and youth. I'm a grown man. I'm a darn grown up. You understand? So I mean, getting picked up,
sliding off.
Yeah,
bro,
back and forth. Stops, goes
always.
over.
I let it slide back. We went up a hill one time. My bus is on my bag's on the emergency door. You know
You're
what
just
it is?
one person in there, just
Bro, I'm talking about getting picked up. I got picked up one time, bro, in a coupe, right? Nothing wrong with that. But my man had his whole family with him.
Oh,
so I'm in the back holding his baby.
hilarious.
I don't know the baby. Baby don't know me.
Oh, dude.
I'm like, well, we're going to the hotel. He's like, man, we're going to drop you off, but we got to go to the store real quick. Go to the store.
What?
We go to Walmart, bro. Listen, I'm in the car holding this baby. He's like, you want to stay in with the kids? I want to stay with your kids.
He's like, can I get your rewards number real
So
quick?
I'm in the grocery store helping them shop.
Oh, dude.
Hey, 2% milk or you want the red cap? We grocery shopping. I don't know you. You know what I mean?
That's
so it's
hilarious.
not Ritz-Carltons and, you ain't really been on the road until you at a hotel where, sometimes, you get some places and, your adjutant will be here receiving in the lobby at sensitive time. Your car service will be waiting. Then other times it's like, we just going to flash our high beams in the room. When we get here, you just come on outside. Because I'm literally outside. You understand what I'm saying? Like, so it's not sweets and big honorariums.
Right.
It's chicken sandwiches and we can't pay you for your service. And I'm not saying that to be, that's
You're
part
just
of the journey.
telling the truth, yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm not at all regretting that because I think that those are formative experiences that, make sure you're in this for the right reason. Mm-hmm. But the biggest misconception is that it's all big crowds. I've been in churches to preach, bro, and I've played the drums for the service. And then no lie, I drove down there. Nice people. They were honest. And this is the big thing. They were honest. Because that's a whole nother story. People, Doc, it's going to be 1,000 people there. I get there, it's 37 lawn chairs in there. Are you counting streamers? You counting Facebook friends? 1,000 people? So they were honest. But, hey, listen, we're a young church. We're small. Would you come? We love your ministry. Absolutely, I'll come. I get there. It's like 6 people in there. The pastor's on the keyboard, about to lead praise and worship. His wife is on the drums. Their 3 kids are on the front row, and it's like 2 other people in there. Right? So
we could have had this at the house, man.
Yeah.
We could have had this. We could have
had it on that school bus.
FaceTime me. I'll preach,
Oh, dude.
But hey, I'm here. I went over there. I told the first lady of the church, I said, you know what, first lady, let me play. I appreciate she'd had a back surgery or something. It was just, but again, that commitment to the cause, like we're gonna make this thing work. We feel this is what. So I played the drums. I'm, 1 2 1 2. Have you tried Jesus? He's all right, right? Pastors leading praise and worship and playing. I'm on the drums. We played right on up until he raised the offering. I'm sizzling on the cymbals, right? Huh? You don't know, I'm not sizzling on the cymbals. Not, he introduces me from the keyboard. I get up off the drums, take the 2 steps from the drums to the pulpit and I preached. You know what I mean?
A drumstick in his hand.
It was close enough.
You hit a line, you just go.
Exactly. So, it's not what people think it is in the sense of, it's just this glamorous rock star life. You're in a different suite every night, No, it's not like that.
Yeah.
It's driving to engagements. It's getting bad checks. It's getting,
I got some of those.
I know you have. It's all of that. It's, standing places. It's roaches. And I went to one church, man. I'm still mad about this. Went to one church, asked to go to the restroom. It's a trailer, right? They have put, that indoor-outdoor green carpet. They've got the outdoor carpet in the sanctuary.
On the indoor.
Indoor. They got outdoor on the indoor, right? It's ripped up. They done put green duct tape down to try to cover it. Half the lights are out. Take me to the bathroom. I'm like, oh man, the water's not working. Like, let me go to the women's room. Come to find out the water's off in the whole building. Like this, it's not even legal for us to be in here.
Oh, dude.
It's like 9 people, bro. Look, nobody got a handshake after church because I know you didn't wash your hands.
Nasty.
Everybody, hey, God bless you. Don't touch me. It's these kinds of experiences, man. So
it's funny too is when you're talking about being picked up by the bus and like then the coupe. I'm like, wait, you got picked up? That's all I heard.
Those are the times I get picked up.
I'm like,
sometimes
I'm like, you got picked up? Whoa, fancy, hoity-toity.
Right, exactly. So,
you have any more, Jay?
No. Oh, actually, just one. How do you personally and your church view homosexual, I guess, clients? Churchgoers? What would you say?
Homosexuality?
Clients.
I mean, like if somebody wants to come to your church that's homosexual, how do you view that? I don't know. What do you say, a churchgoer?
Parishioners.
There you go. That's why I said client.
Guest members?
I don't know what a person that goes to church, what you call it, a parishioner? Did you say?
A person. Parishioner, I think, is Catholic.
Okay, well, you said it. I don't know. I'm like
clients. I know it's not that.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure.
I mean, it's your job. They're clients.
Clients is the wrong answer.
Okay.
I'm
All right.
sure it is. That's a very, very loaded, heavy question. And I think that the answer is just to be simple. We handle at my church people of any background coming the same way we handle the alcoholic coming in, the same way we handle the drunk, the depressed, the whatever. We look at it as the church is for everybody to come in. Now, when you come in, me, for example, personally, I adhere to what the Word of God says. And so that says that we're to love everybody. But even in our love, I think that we have really bastardized what love means. You're a father, right? Do you have kids? Okay, we'll use you. We all know, the world knows you love Zay and JoJo. But because you love them, discipline comes with that love. Because you love them, there are moments where you have to say, no, don't do that. No, I love you. But if you do that again, this is going to happen. We're going to take the game, get time out, whatever the case is. So I think that we've dismissed the element of correction and telling the truth in love. From love. We've reduced love to just accept me how I am. Don't tell me anything I don't want to hear. Don't ever make me uncomfortable. Don't challenge anything in my life. And that's how I know you love me. That's not love. And so I think that in that issue specifically, I really want to make it bigger than that issue. Any issue that the Bible calls sin or less than God's best for our life, we open the doors for everybody. I mean, we've had cross-dressers come to church. We've had people come in sloppy drunk. We've had prostitutes. Our church is in a very interesting cross-section of Atlanta. We've got like $500,000 homes right here. We've got projects right here. The area's going through a transition. So we've seen some of everything. And so you let everybody come in. You give them the word of God. You show them the love of Jesus. And you let God do the work that he needs to do in their life. Make sense?
What a great way. What a great final question, I must say.
Good name for the parishioners. If you want to let you go, Mark, tell the people, clients, where they can find you, what you have coming up, and all that stuff.
Well, you can find me on Instagram at mmooreJr, MMOOREJR. Facebook at Mark Moore Jr. And I really, really want you to come see me, and not just me, but come see KevOnStage. Melissa's going to be there. Jay is going to be there.
I'm going to be there, I guess.
Everyone's going to be there. You've been drafted. You're going to be one of our clients.
Yes.
Our conference clients. My man here is going to be there.
Josh
is coming he was there last year.
He was there last
year.
year.
He can tell it was conventions. It was nice.
We had a great time.
A lot of single women?
Yes.
Yes.
He's like
black women.
Oh, you definitely
Jay loves.
Okay,
you definitely
like,
No.
Why you say it like that? I said single women.
Why would you go there?
I'm just laughing because he's like, no, Jay. No. I don't think. Like, I mean,
almost crossed a little creepy, but
yeah, exactly.
He's got a shrine. You got Diana Ross.
I know. Come on. Wait, why would you pick Omarosa?
No, but it's something for everybody, from singles to families to preachers, entrepreneurs, creatives, artists, everything. Go to exploreylc.com. 5,000 people this year are coming together. Last year we had people, I think, from 42 states and like 21 countries around the world. So it's not just people that look like you, think like you, come from where you come from. It'll be a great time. I hope to see you there.
See how he closes it up? Amen. God bless you. God keep you. We're going to see you at the conference. Amen. And at exploreylc.com. But this has been an amazing episode.
Awesome.
Ask a Preacher with Mark Moore. He's Big
Thank
Irish J. I'm KevOnStage. This has been Ask a Preacher. Thank you guys for watching. Support the show. Go to our website, www.theaskashow.com. Buy some merch. Become a Patreon. Donate. Just throw a tip in there. Become a client.
Yes.
There's an offering. The offering is now open. If you want to give to the ministry, go ahead and give. We appreciate you. God bless you. God keep you. We'll see you at the conference.